I returned to Satoru's private room. A dry bloodstain remained near the entrance. With that unpleasant feeling, I sat down on the bed. I found a note left on top of the desk. It was a message from Satoru. Panicking, I picked up the note. "Hey, come on, Cocoro." He was mad all of a sudden. "What?" Got a little angry. The scrolled sentences continued. "Transfer, 1:07 p.m. That's it? That's all there is? Is that all you wanted to say?" "Certainly, as a reply, what you wrote was wonderfully concise. You replied perfectly with what I asked, after all. Somehow understood what the illustration you attached meant, too. But you know, isn't writing only one sentence a little bit cold? Can't you, I don't know, add something a little more depth? We can't meet in person, but at least we're lucky enough to be able to exchange information, right? Wouldn't anyone try to make use of this? You agree, right? We're kind of like partners, you know?" I unintentionally burst into laughter. Yes, I understood why you got angry. "Sorry, it seems like a guest has arrived. I'll continue writing later. Alright, before I forget to write it, did you already listen to the voice recorder in the shelter cabin? I'm mentioning it again here, just in case. Looks like someone's after me. Be careful. While I'm in the shelter cabin, I consider your body my top priority, too. Well then, I'm counting on you, Cocoro." The part that says sorry seems like a guest has arrived bothered me. Guest? Was the guest the culprit that was after Satoru? It was no use just trying to think about it. I sat down in front of the desk and attempted a serious reply. It makes me wonder, is it Sumi the guest? Because I don't know if she actually lives here. Like, it's pretty obvious that she does, but at the same time, we have no proof. We have proof that Uni went to his room, we have proof that Hidori, or whatever her name is, sorry, I keep forgetting her name, Hidori, Hidoki, or Hidoti, I don't remember, I think it's Hidori. Hidori went to her room, but I don't think it's Sumi's ever gone to her room. Maybe she's a guest. I picked up a pen and started a new note. Used a fresh sheet of paper. Where to start? I'd run into the problem again. I wasn't very good at writing letters in the first place. Right? That's the wrong kind of right. "Salutations! Please forgive the lateness of my reply. I hope this letter finds you well." That's kind of formal. But with that said, something like "Dear Satoru" was way too embarrassing. Pardon me. What am I hesitating for? It was somehow strangely awkward. I recall when I was in elementary school writing my first love letter. What? In those days, my parents wouldn't buy me a cell phone. Therefore, I was a girl and familiar with email. In order to convey my feelings to the boy I liked, I wrote a letter analog and stationary. With my heart pounding into every letter of every line, I poured my entire spirit into what I wrote. Remembering it made me feel nostalgic but embarrassed at the same time. By the way, as to whether my love was requited or not, I'll silently lock that up in my heart. Now then. Now was the time to go lost grimacing. Held my pen and put strength into my left hand. Ouch! Come to think of it, my left arm was hurt. Even though I'm left-handed, I want to be able to write anything like this. No option, I held the pen on my right hand. For the opening sentence, I decided to go with something simple and straightforward. Nice to meet you, Yukidoh-san. The characters looked like wiggling earthworms. It's completely unreadable. I crunched up the memo paper into a ball and threw it behind me. But even so, my dominant arm was useless right now. Let out a sigh. Took another stab at it. I can't write. I feel like crying. In this situation, I'll use my spirit. Yep, if I write with spirit, I should be able to get all the nuances across. Force myself to go on, struggling against myself to continue writing. Nice to meet you, Yukidoh-san. I wonder what I should write. There are so many things I want to write, I can't seem to bring it all together very well. You can probably tell just by looking, but my handwriting is like this too. This might be difficult to read, so please forgive me. First off, I'll report all the important things to you. I've read all the messages that you left me on the notepad. I was only able to listen to half of your message on the voice recorder left at the shelter cabin. But I was at least able to listen to it seems someone's after me. And about your left arm, the one who cut your left arm, that someone was the one who did it. The person tried to take away your life. In other words, that's how it is, right? But who is that for someone? Please explain a little more detail. What's happening with Satoru's body? Why it is that you believe someone is after you? Or then did you say that on the shelter cabin's voice recorder too? I was only able to hear part of it, so I don't know. If by chance you didn't record it, then please reply here. But about the culprit, the truth is, it's not as if I don't have any ideas. Here I hesitated to continue writing. I wasn't confident enough to think that it was okay to write this. But in the meantime, Satoru and I didn't properly share all our information between us. Mysteries, mysteries we would have been able to solve together would go unsolved. In the end, I stopped hesitating and continued writing. There's no reason to beat around the bush, so I'll just go ahead and write it. Suzugage Hitori transfers, yeah, it's Hitori. I was saying Hidori. You're aware that she has ID, right? DID, right? Recently she's been fixed on her Hitori personality, though. However, I don't think it'd be unusual for a hidden personality to awaken any time. And by a hidden personality, I mean the other personality within her. The personality that killed 12 people in Awazumi Hospital. It may be possible that the personality is targeting you, Satoru. I say that, but it's not as if I have any decisive evidence. It might not be appropriate to write things like this, even though I don't have any real evidence. Even so, I don't think it would be going overboard to just give you a warning. Be careful, just in case. Next about uni. It's extremely complicated, so I can't say it very well. What should I do? That's right. Okay, first there's something I need to ask you. Have you ever met a young boy by the name of Kasuda Uni? You know, right, I'm thinking this. That maybe Uni is teleporting. Teleporting is in both his body and consciousness are transferring together. And the timing of his teleportation is at the exact time as when Satoru and I transfer. Do you get what I'm trying to say? In other words, at the same time that I transfer back to Mount Akakura, Uni's mind and body jump back to Mount Akakura as well. Because if that isn't so, I can't explain how Uni could exist as two people at the same time. That's why, by my prediction, Satoru shouldn't have met Uni even once. That's what I thought. Which is really, have you met Uni or haven't you? Please tell me. And I have two more things I want you to tell me. The first is about Sphere. Satoru should know much more than I do about this facility, right? That's why I want you to tell me everything about Sphere. Like, how to get outside and how to communicate with the outside world. The second is about the shelter cabin. In the time that I'm away from the shelter cabin, please tell me if anything important happens. I'm sorry. It feels like I'm writing. All I'm writing is, please tell me, and things like that, huh? As an apology, here's the report. First about the earthquake. An earthquake occurred at Sphere. Because of that, the freak was tripped and the blackout occurred. It's fixed now, though. And the times of transfer? I checked properly like you told me, so here they are below. 1:07 PM, transfer to Sphere. 1:40 PM, return to the shelter cabin. 6:03 PM, transfer to Sphere. 6:36, return to the shelter cabin. 7:33 PM, transfer to Sphere. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Transfers occurred 5 times, 2.5 round trips, and at present I'm still here. It looks like the times are all over the place, but do you think there's a pattern? So it seems like they're there for 33 minutes only, like we're in Satoru's body for 33 minutes. And, just gotta think of something here, so it's 4 hours and 23 minutes. That doesn't make sense because that was only an hour later. So there's no real difference in when she goes to Sphere, but she always goes back to the shelter cabin 33 minutes later. So it seems. Well then, one last thing. I'll do as much as I can while I'm in this world, so Satoru too, please take care of my body. Things are pretty bad here, but it's a serious situation there too. It might be kinda weird to say this, but please try not to die. No matter what happens, I'll protect your body until the very end. So you too, Satoru, please protect my body. Live, survive. 2 of us together will escape from this weird phenomenon. And then, I can't think of anything else to say. Anyway, I'm waiting for the day I can meet you. For sure, somewhere I will. So then, this is where Cocoro will end our message. Kindly forgive this roughness of my writing. Later then, P.S. If you do anything weird to my body, I'll never forgive you. Don't touch it, okay? I'm too much, okay? I'd rather die. Don't touch it all. P.P.S. I'm to think I forgot to write something important. About the newspaper. You saw it too, right, Satoru? The newspaper that was in the shelter cabin. Oh. There we go. The place where bliss resides. While sitting in a chair, the newspaper spread out in front of me. Jumped again, and I had returned to the shelter cabin. The newspaper in my hands had adhesive tape all over it, holding it together. While reading the newspaper, I heard Yomogi and Uni's voices. Private Uni, what is your opinion of blue and white stripes? I think they're a little childish, Captain Yomogi. Yes, you can say that again. What were they talking about? I like black and purple more, you know. What are you saying? It's obvious that white is the best, right? Only pure white, like newly fallen snow, can truly be called truly immense romance. That's more of an old man's taste, Captain Yomogi. Private Uni, you aren't very childish either. Somehow it seemed they were talking in an awfully serious tone of voice. Why were they calling each other Captain and Private? Some sort of exploration and team role-playing? I folded the newspaper. Uni and Yomogi were looking in my direction. Oh, no, that wasn't it. I was sitting with my legs wide open. Two of them were staring. As I thought, why can't be beat? Yomogi nodded with while mumbling, yep. His bearded face had become red as if he had been in a hot bath for a full week. What do you mean, why can't be beat? I panicked and slammed my knee shut. Hey, how cold of you, Yukidoh-kun? Can't you give us a little more service? In response to Yomogi's words, I... Let them see. Oh my god! Yeah. I wanna see what happens. I guess another choice then. Just a little, okay? Is it okay? I meant it as a joke though. I feel bad for Fuyukawa. Can't let Yukidoh-kun's good will go to waste. Well then, just a little. Yeah, just a little. As I beckon him closer. Yomogi moves his face nearer and nearer to my lap. Yomogi's fearless face was grinning, now widening into a leer. Estimated distance, 5 miles. Yomogi, who had come even closer, I delivered a full-strength blow. With the rolled-up newspaper. Oh, what are you doing, Yukidoh-kun? I'm Fuyukawa Cocoro. Oh, did you switch? My entire body's blood supply climbing up to my face. I smacked Yomogi's head over and over again. I misjudged you. I thought you weren't that kind of person. Jeez, you idiot! Pervert, stupid pervert, leech is scum of the earth. Hey, wait a second. It's not like I asked Yukidoh-kun to. Whether you asked or not isn't the problem. I saw the newspaper soared down at Uni's head too. But he narrowed down. I narrowly dodged my strike, so I only sliced the air instead. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, I retreated, covering my head with a blanket. Even though Satoru said he'd be careful, he did, a number of times. But he said it was a habit. That's why as soon as he let his guard down, it had to go back right away. What up with that? Oh jeez, this is super embarrassing. I was so embarrassed, tears started to form in my eyes, while biting into my blanket. And I'm sorry for wearing childish panties, huh? If I knew something like this would happen, I would have worn my game panties. God, what am I thinking? It does bother you a bit, huh? Well, some people like things like that. It's absolutely no comfort at all. I threw the newspaper at him. It hit Yomogi's face with a resounding smack. It's a really important thing. It's a really important thing to Maiden. Pulling the blanket over my head, I heard the voices of Yomogi and Uni frantically trying to apologize. Was this enough for now? No. Forgot the chance of time. The wristwatch in my pocket. Taking off my wristwatch every single time, sitting with my legs open. What's with him? Jeez. And to think he calls himself my partner, he has no delicacy. Spitting out one complaint off after another. I confirmed the time. The clock indicated 8:11. It's about 5 minutes past. It's the transfer. I would say the transfer happened at 8:06. He didn't leave a message this time, so I tried playing back the VR. Started playing back the continuation of the message from before. It seems someone is after my life. No, I can't really confirm that yet, but it somehow feels that way. 2 incidences seem too unnatural to be accidents happen one after another. I don't know who the culprit is. I don't have any guesses as to who it could be either. Here's that. Here, there's Itsumi-san, Uni, and Inabushi. Okay. No, it might be better if I called her Suzukage Hitori. Anyway, one of these three is trying to kill me. There was a slight pause. It seemed like Satoru had gone silent while still recording. After a while, the message continued to play. Of course, even I don't want to think about that. Be nice if this was just a baseless anxiety. However, it wouldn't be going overboard to stay cautious. Isn't that right? The body is mine, but at the same time yours. It's yours. If you happen to lose your life while you're in that body, you can probably use your imagination, right? I'm counting on you, Cocoro. I'm doing what I can while I'm here too. Later then. And that was it. There was no new recordings after that. I'm here. After putting the VR in my pocket, I continued to glare at Yumogi for a while. He stood leaning with his back against the wall, an expression of feigned ignorance on his face. Before long, perhaps he couldn't stand my overpowering look any longer, so he came up to me and started talking. I'm really sorry, Fuyukawa-san. It's fine, please be more careful next time. He seemed to be honestly apologizing, so I decided to forgive him for now. Got it, I'll warn Yukidoh could as well. Please do so. I spread out the rolled newspaper. That guy, did he say anything about the newspaper? I wanted to know about Satoru's opinion of the newspaper was. I jumped when I was about to write about it in the memo. Yumogi shook his head. He didn't really say anything about the newspaper. But while he was reading it, he said, I can be at peace in this world. Huh? I think that a peace could be the least suitable word possible to describe the shelter cabin. Even so, I wonder why. Yumogi continued. Over there, I can't let my guard down for a second. I don't know who we can trust. On that point, it's a lot more comfortable here, is what he said. Comfortable? Yumogi nodded, though I have no idea what he meant when he said there and here. Saying that, he shrugged his shoulders. Comfortable, huh? As for me, which world do I find more comfortable? Hey, Yumogi-san. If you had to choose between a world where it's really warm and you could eat your satisfaction, but someone was after your life, or a place like the shelter cabin where you're exposed to the threat of nature, which would you find more relaxing? What a random question, let's see. If it's me, I'd probably choose the former. There's no way to escape from the cold on a stone mountain. With the murderous monster, there are still ways. I see. I think what he said was quite right, but by Satoru's thinking, the shelter cabin was probably much more comfortable. It's said that humans are mysterious beings who don't experience terror and crisis on the same scale as one another. When Threat A and Threat B both attack in succession, if Threat A exceeds Threat B by even a little bit, they'll think that Threat B isn't such a big deal compared to Threat A. For Satoru, an unknown killer is probably a lot more dreadful than the threat of nature. As far as real experience goes, as I've felt the fear of death at Sphere myself, I understand his feelings as well. So well it hurts. So cold. Rubbing her arms together, Maizumi appeared from the ladder leading up the basement. Just when I was thinking that I didn't see her around, it seemed she was in the basement. Hey, Yumogi, could you get me some tea? After murmuring, oh brother, and shrugging his shoulders, Yumogi put a cup of chamomile tea for Maizumi. That's right, I managed to figure something out. Suddenly saying that, Yumogi pointed to an area of the newspaper with his finger. It's about the GPS. Seems it wasn't broken after all. Oh, well, then why won't it work? The answer is in the article. It seems the GPS satellite is malfunctioning. My eyes followed Yumogi's pointing finger into the article. The heading read, GPS satellite malfunction due to solar winds. It's due to the solar winds, which occur once every 11 years. This is the year 2011. Seems like this is the lucky year for solar winds. And it has the most intense of the past 100 years written here too. The article continued. Also due to the solar winds, a bug has appeared in the satellite which has caused use for satellite phones. Authorities announced that any remote operations from above ground will not be transmitted. Whoops, okay, we're clicking off. However, in extremely rare cases, it seems that the satellite phones will still work. The probability of this rare event occurring, starting from the beginning of the year, the rate of successful connections is approximately 1 in 1 million. With this, even if you were to dial one number once per second, continuously for 24 hours, it would be normal to connect one time approximately every 11.5 days. This is what the current situation is. The satellite phone, huh? But we don't have one of those here. But then, that's if the newspaper isn't a sham, however. You an idiot? A sharp voice flew across the room. Sitting her already, sitting her already narrow eyes even further. Oh, slitting her already narrow eyes even further. Maizumi glares in her direction. That thing's obviously fake. First off, the time yesterday, you were the one who said we should forget about the newspaper, weren't you? I guess. Don't seriously believe it either. Whether the satellites are really down or not is another thing, but it's true that the solar winds are at their maximum now. The news did a piece on it around summertime last year, right? That our car's navigation systems will be useless and such. That just means the guy who wrote the newspaper says that news too. Saw that news too. And so we think that it has some credibility. What a worthless, petty trick. There's a limit to practical jokes, just who could have done this? Done talking, Maizumi closed her mouth. We're all sunk. Seems that when we discuss the newspaper, we always go around in circles. Whether it's a prank or whether it's real, there's still one thing we don't know. Just when, who, how, and why did someone put this newspaper here? Thinking about it only raises more questions. And Uni broke the silence. In the corner of the room, he who had been watching us silently let out a small chuckle. God, what's with this music? It's like all scary again. I remember it happened last time he was going to tell us the name of the cabin. What's wrong, Uni? That article, you don't want to believe that it's real, huh? Still wrapped in his blanket, Uni stood up. The long blanket looked like a sorcerer's robe. But I know. That newspaper is real. What are you saying? We're already dead. No. He continued speaking in an austere tone, as if he were a shrine maiden handing down the oracle of God. From now on, we're going to die. None of us could say anything. Only the sound of the wind filled the interior of the shelter cabin, like a rising requiem of sorrow with incessant bearing down. I have a feeling that depending what choice we take from now on, this newspaper's going to change. So, like, for example, maybe it's like this because we're staying in the cabin, but maybe if we were to leave the cabin and try doing something, the newspaper would change. Like, it would be showing our future, maybe? The sound of falling snow could be heard from the roof. Gathering myself together, I questioned Uni. Uni, what do you mean by that? I didn't get to hear the answer, because my consciousness disappeared. Are you kidding me? Again? So quickly? Shadow of falsehood. Standing in front of me when Uni had just been was Hitori. She was watching me with a blank look on her face. Geez, when was such an important opportunity? Wanted to hear the rest of what Uni had been able to see, started searching for him. I walked over to Uni's room, but before that, entering Satoru's room, I confirmed the current time. Glanced at the clock on the shelf. 9:49. Last transfer occurred at 8:06, so that means I was at the shelter cabin for about an hour and 43 minutes. Thinking back, it felt like I had spent more than 4 hours staying inside the shelter cabin during the day. Doesn't the transfer happen at regular intervals? In the meantime, while gazing at the clock, I began pondering. That's important too, but there's something bothering me even more right now. The newspaper. What do the words Uni said right before I transferred mean? Oh my god, it's the first flashback of the game! The newspaper is real. The newspaper's real? If so, does that mean it was brought here from the future? The door to Uni's room is slightly open. Without bothering to knock in, I rush in. Crushing Uni was standing near the doorway. Yeah! Whoa! Both of us have fallen into our bottoms. I looked across at Uni. What are you doing? Forget about that. Uni, just what did you mean before? Before? The newspaper, what do you mean it was real? Newspaper? What newspaper? Don't play dumb with me. I'm Cocoro now. As though a question mark had appeared over his head, Uni let out a deep sigh and shrugged his shoulders. Can't keep up with Satoru's weakness. Come on, I just said it was Cocoro, didn't I? Hey, tell me, continue with what you were saying before. Told you, I don't know anything about a newspaper. As Uni indicated that the answer to my question was beyond him, I began to worry a little. Strange. Why can't I get through to him? Didn't Uni and I jump here together? Or rather, and then Uni said something expected. What happened to the corpse? Corpse? What? Who died? Was it the work of the murderer? Tori was safe, and Uni was right in front of me. Then Natsumi-san? As quickly as I flipped a switch, I flew out of the room. I was about to run all the way to Itsumi's room, but I then came to a stop. Itsumi was dead, what should I do? It would mean the culprit was either Uni or Tori. Could Uni with his innocent face have killed her? Or had Ibushi finally shown her true colors? At the very least, the two look completely calm. What happened to the corpse? Uni was so composed as he said the word corpse. Was he fine, but was he himself the killer? Tori was still in the kitchen. Continuing on, I unsteadily tried to sneak past her. I felt something grab a hold of my arm. Frightened, I shifted my gaze to her eyes, which were set in an expression of anger. What is it? Say something. If you don't, I won't understand anything. Let's go. I shook her arm off mine. As if saying he, Tori pointed her finger at the area by my feet. What? Nonchalantly, I looked down. Oh. It was a corpse. A small living being, a brown rat's corpse had tumbled out of somewhere. Its head had been cruelly crushed, causing blood to issue from its small mouth. That eerie sight made me... I pressed a hand tightly over my mouth and crashed down. Geez, what is this? Stop throwing me into all this confusion. A lot of things had happened until now, and it was getting to be much too much to follow. As if someone was trying to continually test my courage. I felt like I'd been on a long and horrible trip until now. My mind was overheating. This may be the same feeling as having a bad drug trip. Tori worriedly peeked at my face, and then Itsumi came from the stairs into the basement. Yukidoh-kun? Itsumi-san, you're safe! Son, you're safe! Blankly staring at me, she replied. Yes, I'm fine. I just went down to the basement to get these. In her hands were a towel and a small spade. It seems that the corpse Uni mentioned wasn't Itsumi's after all. Then just what? Rather than that, where did you go? It isn't good for you to neglect this little one. Itsumi stared at the rat's remains. Just what is this? Ah, you've become Fuyukawa-san, haven't you? While gently wrapping the rat's corpse in the towel, Itsumi said, Yukidoh-kun and Tori-chan just found this little one dead. We felt sorry for it, so we decided to bury it. Even so, Fuyukawa-san ended up going off somewhere. Tori nodded. The reason for her angered expression from before was probably because it just ran off, despite promising to give it a burial. Itsumi carried the towel that the rat was wrapped in her arms as if it was extremely precious. It was almost as if she was embracing a baby. Tori too had knit her brow in mourning for the death of the rat. Corpse, a brown rat. Where is there a brown rat in the facility? Please wait, I'll definitely help out. Wait just 3 minutes. I ran to where Uni was. Uni! Uni! Uni was lying sprawled on top of the bed. Seeing me, he made a fed-up face. Told you, I don't know anything about newspaper. No, not that. I frantically shook my head. The corpse you were talking about before, you didn't mean... The rat, did you bury it? Actually, I didn't feel very well. Sorry for not helping. Rat. I flopped down onto the bed. Satoru, what is it? No, it's nothing. The truth was never anything to be afraid of. It was just the rat's remains that Uni called a corpse. The sick, intoxicated feeling of being on a bad trip began to fade. Was this too just me getting spooked by shadows? There wasn't anything eerie at all, only fear itself. In reality, there might not actually be a murderous monster. Just like a broken spectre, the thing that created the shadow of the murderer may be myself, controlled by my fear. It began to feel as if everything was just a bad dream, except the pain from my slashed left arm keeps on reminding me that this is real. I had more or less regained my composure and went outside along with Itsumi and Tori, to give the rat a proper burial. The moment I went outside, the cold air came crawling up from below. Now inside the snowstorm, I couldn't even see what was a few meters in front of me. Just when will it finally stop? These past 2 days I've seen nothing but snow. The sky had been hiding behind the clouds since forever ago. Around here should be fine. In the area just outside the front entrance, Itsumi and I started clearing the ground. Tori eagerly started swinging the shovel downwards, digging it out of a hole in the frozen earth. She soon became covered in sweat. Do you want to switch? Even though I offered, she shook her head from side to side. In no time, a hole about 10 centimeters deep had been opened in the earth. Sorry, it's such a cold place. Itsumi slowly laid down the towel she wrapped the rat in. On a pair of wooden chopsticks, Tori wrote, Rat's Grave. As it wasn't easy to write on a thin pair of wooden chopsticks, the characters were a little crooked. 3 of us got on got in a line in front of the grave, crouched down, joining our hands. Please don't let anyone else die, I prayed. There may be a little bit beyond the power of a rat buried in such a shabby grave, though. Still, I couldn't help but try. Even though I'd only been outside... what was that? Even though I'd been outside for 10 minutes, the cold had cut into my body. I hadn't noticed when I was confirming the time because I was so surprised, but a note had been left on top of the table. Taking the note in my hand, I lay down on the bed, began reading the note. Cocoro, this is sort of sudden, but do you know where the largest mountain on the planet is? It's on the border of Nepal and Tibet. Elevation 8,850 meters. It goes without saying that I'm talking about Everest. Well, then on the other hand, where do you think the deepest point on the planet is? In this case, the deepest point on the planet means the lowest place that a flesh and body human can reach. In other words, not an ocean trench, but somewhere underground. Do you know where it is? The correct answer is the Republic of South Africa. In a deep-level gold mine, there exists the deepest hole in the world. The depth is about 3,580 meters. But you know what is found in a place that's even deeper than that? Inside my heart. Wow, that's deep. I'm so thankful to a girl named Fuyukawa Cocoro. This thankfulness is even deeper than that deep-level mine. And at the same time, I'm so moved it hurts. This feeling is in my heart climb higher than Everest. In other words, the feelings in my heart were to be converted into units of distance that surely reach far above 12,430 meters high. That's how grateful I am to you right now. Of course, I'm talking about how you safely got away from the culprit who's after me. Thank you very much, Cocoro. I didn't even do much, I just ran to your room. I'm actually wondering, what would happen if I went to the main entrance? Because I'm a man who's studying the natural sciences, I can't think of the right words to express myself, but far above 12,430 meters. If my feelings can be transmitted through this numerical value, there's nothing more I desire. I was worried about the injuries that were inflicted on his body, but it seems Satoru is still thankful regardless. I felt just a little bit proud of myself. Well, no matter how many words I string together, it won't be enough to tell you how thankful I am. But there's something else important that I have to tell you. I have no idea when we'll transfer again after all. I apologize for the rudeness, but I'll be changing the subject for my reply around here. Set up on the bed. This wasn't something to be reading lying down. Without thinking about it, I sat up perfectly straight. By somebody, who did I mean? Question. By somebody, who did I mean? I put it in the voice recorder too, but I don't know. My answer is that I don't know, except that I don't think it's Uni. I don't have any proof or anything, but I can't even imagine Uni being the one that's after me, and I think I can exclude Sami-san as a suspect based on my personal impression of her. In her case, I'm especially doubtful, since her speech and conduct aren't the least bit suspicious. Last one is Tori. I'm hesitant to talk about her in black and white. Just as you wrote, she was the culprit in the Iwazumi incident after all. Even if the Hattori personality is uninvolved, there's another, more ferocious personality lurking within her. You can probably say that the probability is high. It wouldn't be going overboard to give a warning. Indeed, that's true. Why do you think that someone's after you? Now that you mention it, I haven't told you the details yet, huh? I was on the clock tower when I was first attacked. I was pushed off it by someone. Thankfully, my injuries weren't too bad, but if I'd landed the wrong way, I might have died. I don't know whether the culprit in that incident intended to kill me, but they at least did it with the goal of hurting me in mind. After falling from the clock tower, I lost consciousness. When you woke up at Sphere, it was probably a few hours afterwards. That's right, when I came to Sphere for the first time, I was lying in bed. Sumi was treating me at the time, but I remember my entire body aching painfully. I thought that was just because it was like a man's body, like, oh my god, I'm not used to a man's body, it's aching. But no, it was because he was pushed off the tower. That was from someone pushing me off. I jumped into the bed after he was in the condition from being pushed off, and if Satoru's body had died soon afterwards, I might have died along with it. I'm thankful it wasn't too serious. The next time they came after me, I was in the bathroom. While I was in the bath, someone tried drowning me by plunging my head into the water. What? So such a thing happened? So that's after the blackout happened, I'm guessing. I'd almost be drowned in the bathroom. I shivered, not from the cold, but from fear. Sudden feeling uneasy, I got off the bed. I locked the door. Checked the lock on the window. Because I don't know when the murderous monster will come after me again. I sat down in the bed. I like how she's only used that murderous monster term for Kaigo. And thinking that a hand would pop out from under it, I put my feet on the top of the bed. so that I couldn't be attacked from behind. I sit with my back against the headboard and continue reading the note while hugging my knees. Hey Cocoro, do you know who the culprit is? Please tell me in detail what it is, what did happen then. I'm begging you. Huh? What does that mean? Do I know who the culprit is? There's no way. The clock tower incident happened before the personality exchange started occurring, right? And the power was out during the incident in the bathtub, as well as the knife attack, so I couldn't see anything. What was he trying to say? I didn't understand what he meant at all. In the meantime, I continued reading. Sorry, the conversation's changed direction a bit. Well, that's a bit for now. Clock tower bathroom, my left arm being cut. These three things happening in succession means that someone is after me. More correctly, someone is after my life. Out sphere, is there any way to leave, or are there any means to communicate with the outside? It's hard for me to say, but the answer is both questions is probably no. If my memory is correct, there shouldn't be any way to leave or communicate with the outside world. I can't say this for certain right now, I'm a little amnesiac off the fall. I more or less remember sphere, but it might be that there's something I'm forgetting. I apologize for only being able to respond with such irresponsible, unhelpful answers. If I remember anything, I'll tell you right away. About the shelter cabin, did anything important happen? I don't think there have been any big changes. Imogi-san and Yuri-san are just laying around. Only Lynn is emotionally unstable, but that's normal for her. There isn't really anything important I have to tell you about at the moment. With that ends my replies to the questions you've asked me, Cocoro. I've answered everything that was within the scope of my knowledge. No, you haven't answered anything about Uni, though obviously you do know about him because you've mentioned him. But it would still be good to clarify that, so Cocoro can understand. After that, there's the timing of our transfers. Thanks, you saved me. Thanks to that, I now know about the transfer times are recorded, and yours are more or less the same. Tentatively, the transfer times I've checked go something like this. 1:07 PM transfer, 10:40, 6:03 transfer to shelter cabin, something, return to sphere. Because it was during the blackout, I'm guessing, because, so yeah. 7:33 PM transfer to shelter cabin, 8:06 return to sphere. Please don't mind the something in the fourth one. At the time I was in the dark, running away from someone with a knife. I didn't have the opportunity to check the time. I don't know yet whether there's a rule about the timing of the transfers. The only thing I can say for sure is that you and I both transfer into each other's bodies at the same time. With that, please continue the checking the time from here on out. It's not like we have a big sample to work with, after all. Lastly, about your body. Don't worry. I'll protect it no matter what. I take it upon myself to always repay favors. As I continued to read the contents of the message, I felt disappointed. Even though you left my legs open for everyone to see. Just remembering it made my cheeks turn red. I think I should tell him to be mindful of other people's eyes as well. Moreover, Cocoro, I have a connection that can't be severed even if someone tries to cut it. I just noticed it now, but it seems that I, without you, am just me. Either way, the fact that I'm me doesn't change, but even so, when you're there, I feel like I can be more like myself. There's a 4-character Chinese aphorism that goes like that, don't you know? Seki Jukansai. Red accepts blue entirely is what it means. Maybe I've been trapped by the phenomenon myself. Of course, it's because you're here that this phenomenon came into existence in the first place, though. Red accepts blue entirely? What is Satoru trying to say? I have no idea. Red accepts blue entirely. As I thought, I don't know. Red and blue, Aka and Aoi? Oh? A Mount Akakura and Aosage island evolved somehow? Is it about how personality exchange? I wish you'd write in a way that's a little easy to understand. Sorry, that was a little much, huh? Anyway, I definitely won't let you die, no matter what. So try to relax somehow. Believe in me. I'll multiply my 12,430 meters worth of appreciation and pay it all back to you. Pay it back to who? Me? You? What? Pay it back to you, yeah. Huh? I noticed that after I read up here, Satoru didn't answer all my questions. About the newspaper, about uni. He didn't even touch upon those two subjects. Why? Why didn't he write anything? I don't think he simply forgot. Maybe he has a reason for not answering. Oh, that's right, there's one last thing I want to say. It might be rude to say something like this, but Cocoro's drawing was the work of a prodigy. Well then, later. Yes! The tulip whelped! Was it really that good? I know it was in good artistic taste, but I don't know anything about it being the work of a prodigy. I don't really understand, but it seems my drawing really left a deep impression on Satoru. Well, whatever. There's no reason getting praised should make me feel bad. Harboring a slightly complicated feeling in my heart, I once again lay down on my bed. While holding my knees and continually taking a deep breaths. With the exhaustion having worn down my body, those deep breaths soon changed into sleeping breaths.